We are here at FWE talking with none other than Joey Ryan. Joey, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. It's your pleasure, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Now tonight we have the world's cutest tag team going against Ivelisse Velez and Tommy Dreamer. What do you have in store for that tag team?
It's a very we run a very tight camp, and we can't let our strategy out of the bag because me and Candice are very successful for a reason, and that's because we have a lot of techniques that we employ during certain situations, and we don't let that out of the bag until people see it in the ring.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Now we follow you on Twitter. We do all that stuff. We know that you're a huge fan of Disneyland, Disney World. What is your favorite ride at Disney World?
My favorite thrill at Disney World or Disneyland is the Tower of Terror, which is the one that drops, the Twilight Zone one. But for nostalgia reasons, I probably Peter Pan in Fantasyland, just because I remember as a kid. It's my favorite. Peter Pan's my favorite Disney movie. So, and it's also it's about a 40-minute line for a 40-second ride, so it's pretty popular as well.
Even as Joey Ryan, you still have to wait in lines?
I try not to play that card. I try to, with the commoners, I try to just have the experience,
We totally get that. Now, recently, Candice has been in some brutal matches. I think that there was something along the lines of a thumbtack super kick.
Yes.
Some people would say, now not me, but some people would say that she's taking some of the more dangerous maneuvers. Is this because you don't want to ruin the moneymaker, or how does...
Well, I think you'd have to ask the Young Bucks about their strategy towards me and Candice as a team. Maybe they see her as a weaker link and that they can take her out, but obviously they were wrong because Candice is tougher than you or me or anybody. So, I think that their strategy worked against them if they thought that they could take Candice out.
Absolutely. And now you've had some success all over the world. You were on TNA, much to everybody's chagrin. Al Snow and everybody, they didn't necessarily think that you could make it. You have been wildly successful. T-shirts on TMZ all the time. What are some of your big goals still in professional wrestling?
I used to have like a lot of not that I don't have aspirations anymore, but I used to think like if I didn't make it to a certain place or a certain time by a certain whatever, like I would be down on it or whatever. But then, like you come to a point where you realize that like I'm making a full-time living doing this, and it's what I love, and and I get bookings all over the world. Candice and I were in England last week, and we're in New York today, and we're just traveling the globe and getting to do this, make money, do merchandise. We're doing it on our own terms with our own schedule too, which is a benefit that a lot of guys that are making a living in wrestling can't say. But yeah, I just love the fact that like I can keep doing this, and I've done it for 14 years now. Candice is at like 10 or 11 years herself. So just being able to travel and just be able to pay our bills doing this.
All right, and lastly, we'll let you go. I know it's a big strategy, and
got to get the merch going too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's a two-part question. The first one is, as a independent wrestler, do you see that there is a current like boom, like this is a boom period in independent wrestling?
I think being in it, it's hard to tell because I've done the same work no matter what the crowd is. If it's 10 people, if it's 1,000 people, I do the same amount of work. I still bust my ass and get my bookings and stuff like that. But people have told me, like I have a buddy, and I'm not trying to drop a name here, but he was on the cast of True Blood, and he comes to the PWG shows in LA, and he just mentioned, I was talking to him the other day, and he just was mentioning how just like the attitude towards wrestling, because he gets some of his like celebrity friends to come, and we've had the cast of True Blood there before, and a few other people, and just like the talk, like, because a lot of people are wrestling fans whether they admit it or not, and I think he was saying that there's just like a rumbling about PWG, specifically in LA, so I'm sure there's similar ones all over the country, New York for FWE, rumblings and groanings about maybe not being satisfied with the product that they're seeing on television, and looking for alternatives and being satisfied with the alternatives. And I think you see that as justification by the fact that a lot of the top brands are signing guys right off the indies now and trying to take some of the bigger names because they feel the boom too, because they're not stupid to what's going on in the industry either. So I think that it's hard for me to be on the inside to see the boom, but I think fans telling me and people that are supportive of the products telling me that they feel like a rumbling going on and like more attention towards the indies. I mean, I've heard that a lot lately. So.
And the second part of this question is, where can fans that maybe are familiar with you or maybe aren't familiar with you find you, and where can they get this merch that you've been talking about?
You can find me on Tinder, ladies. Just kidding. Well, not really, but yeah, ProWrestlingTees.com/Joey Ryan for the merch. They got me and Candice shirts there. Candice has her own store. This is ProWrestlingTees.com/Candice LeRae. Twitter, I'm at Joey Ryan online because there's a singer-songwriter that took Joey Ryan. Candice, yeah, right. Candice is at Candice LeRae. We're on Facebook and Instagram too. You just look us up. I'm sure it will be easy to detect if you just search for us.
Thank you very much for being on with us, and we hope that you have as bright a future as you have glorious of a mustache.
Thank you, and you have a glorious beard.